I hope you're ready for a new week. I know I am. I've had so much fun the last couple of weeks, so many good things going on, several opportunities to speak to groups and to be with them as a leader at work. That's what we're talking about today, how to win at work. We also talk about winning at home. We'll talk about that some this week on Wednesday. And last couple of weeks, our home life has been kind of crazy. We've had 2 new granddaughters. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe I'll tell you about that some later. But today we're talking about winning at work. Welcome to Chasing Greatness, the podcast where we do help you win at work, win at home, and win at life. And today I've got a special episode that I think is going to help us reset as we prepare to go into the second quarter of the year. So there's been a lot of March Madness this last weekend. It all started up, right? I hope you have your brackets, but if you do, your brackets probably got obliterated on Thursday of last week when I think Kentucky lost, Iowa lost, all these teams. I didn't actually even watch any of the games. Here's what I did do. I saw a headline that said that there were 17 million brackets, I think, filled out on ESPN. I believe that was the number. And they were down to about 400 brackets after just the first day that were still intact. So out of 17 million, they all just got obliterated. It was a mess. And I'm guessing your bracket is a mess if you filled one out. Mine's still perfect because I didn't fill one out. I was late. I missed it. I'm not worried about that right now. But I'm glad there's a little chaos going on with the tournament. But it reminds me as I think about basketball. They play halves in the first half and the second half in college basketball now. The men do. But in the NBA and in high school, if you go to a game, I'm an old basketball coach. I can tell you they have 4 quarters in the game, just like a football game. And when you get to the end of the first quarter, you actually get a little bit of a timeout. You get to pull back. You get to make some adjustments. And so today, that's really what our podcast is going to be about. When you think about your work, what are you doing to adjust as you prepare to go into Q2, which is kind of hard to believe. The end of March is upon us. It's coming. The time has changed. We got daylight savings going on. Everybody's, we had a full moon last week. It's like you can't sleep. Your clock's all messed up. And yet I want to challenge you to really pull back. We talked about this actually a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. Noise will not have to be scheduled on your calendar. You will not have to think about putting noise on there. It's going to show up so many different ways. External noise, social media noise, news noise, work noise, email noise, noise in your own head, internal noise. It won't have to be scheduled to show up, but silence will, and silence will not make it onto your calendar, or the way we said it, I think a couple of weeks ago, is you will not have quiet on your calendar unless you schedule it. And quiet is what you need after this first quarter ends here. Maybe you need a retreat for a day or an overnight. Maybe you need an afternoon, just where you can shut everything down and you can pull out your plan. Hopefully you're working off a plan or a strategy. And you got a chance to go and make some adjustments here as you go into the second quarter. You really do want to give some thought to what you're trying to do if you're going to do that. And so I've got 4 questions today, very simple, but I think they'll help you as you think about resetting your life and your leadership, but specifically your leadership today as you think about your work. So let me give you these 4 questions. I think it'll be good for you to chew on these. You might take them with you on your planning time, your retreat, whatever you do to reset your little first quarter adjustments. So here they are. So the first question is, I want you to think about, it's not really the question yet, but I want you to think about what was it in the first quarter of the year that was hard for you? And what would you like to see different? And so the question is this: what do you really want? What do you want to be different in the second quarter from the first quarter? Like, what do you really want? This is your vision question. I think it's so important for us to understand we need to clarify vision over and over again. If you are a high-speed leader, you're really neck deep in what you're trying to do right now. The faster you go, I would remind you, the more your vision will become blurry. It's like how cool would it be if we could get a Ferrari and go down the freeway? That would be awesome. I'd love that. we could get a Ferrari, just put the thing in overdrive and let it fly. That would be so fun. But here's what I'm telling you: the faster you go, the harder it is to read the signs on the road. It's like your vision becomes blurry because of the speed. And I think so many times we get in our work, we get speed going. We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of projects, a lot of people to manage. Some of you own businesses. You got all kind of things going on. And the faster you go, the easier it is to lose focus on what it is you're trying to do. What is your vision? We said before, we confuse activity with accomplishment, and that's not the goal. Just to be busy. The goal really is to be effective. To not just even be doing stuff, but to doing transformational stuff. I want us to think about that. So this question of vision, really important. What do you want? How would you answer that question? What do you really want in the second quarter of the year? I think if you can write that down and think through that, you're going to position yourself to do a better job in Q2 than you even did in Q1, because you have Q1 experience now, and you know what's working, what's not working, where do you need to double down in your life and leadership. This week, I'm going to be reviewing a book by Greg McKeown. I had a chance to speak with Greg at a conference a couple of years ago. Greg's written a book called Essentialism. I'm going to review that on Thursday. And it's been such a good book to help me really focus on what's essential and be able to say no to the things that are non-essential. That's really the way you want to think as a leader. So you have to start with this question: what do you want? It's question number one. All right, so that's the vision question. Number two is, and this is going to be a little bit different because we're going to talk about capacity. But as I talk about capacity here, I want you to think about the people that are helping you. And so my question would be, who do you need? Who do you need to help you pull off what you're really trying to do as you go into this second quarter? Are there gaps on your team? Is your vision bigger than what you're going to be able to pull off on your own? I hope so. If you're a leader, it certainly is. And so you're going to need some people around you to help you. So who do you need right now? Your structure should enable you to do great work, not inhibit you to do great work. Some of us are struggling to get stuff done, to scale, to even just grow, because you don't have the people that you need around you. So I would challenge you to think through, who do you really need right now? And maybe who you need is already on your team. You just haven't trained them correctly, or you haven't challenged them or stretched them or given them opportunity or shared ownership. I don't know what it is that would come to mind there, but I'm guessing you might even have the people around you already that you need, but you might not. You may need to go get somebody else and say, hey, I gotta bring somebody else onto the team. And you may be thinking, well, I can't really afford to do that. If you hire the right person, it should actually cause your business to make more money. Every time you hire somebody, you should make more money. If you hire the right people and you've got the right kind of process in place to train them and to empower them. So some of us right now, we're struggling with our capacity because we don't have the structure around us. We don't have the people that we need to help us. And I want to challenge you to think about that and give some time to that over the next week or so as you get ready to go into the second quarter. And ask yourself, are there, almost like a basketball coach would say, we've got people that have been playing, but they're not really getting the job done. Well, maybe we need to make some substitutions here. You may have some people around you that are tired. You may need to rethink the way you're putting your expectations on them. I just want to challenge you to give some thought to this capacity, or the idea of capacity, but in the context of your people, not just your own personal energy and limits. We talk about that sometimes, but not today. I want you to think about capacity as it relates to people. Who do you need? What do you want? Who do you need? Here's question number 3. Where are you going? Where are you going? This is a little bit of vision, but this is really more about direction. Like, vision is there, but do you have, you have like what you want, but do you really have a strategy to help you move in that direction? And I love, I love this question. Like, where are you going? Where do you want to be when you get to halftime? We're going to blink and it's going to be middle of the summer. We're ready to go into the second half of the year. And do you have some goals? Do you have some markers? Do you have some milestones over the next 90 days that you say, these things need to happen if I'm going to continue to head in the direction that I'm really wanting to go, that's going to ultimately land us at the vision? So our questions so far: what do you want? Who do you need? And where are you going? You might even start with where are we going? But I like the intrinsic, like, what do I want? And then what do I have to do to get there. The people around me will help, but then I've got to really have a locked in mission almost. I mean, if vision is what do I want, it's bigger, broader picture, then I've got to have a strategy to help me get there, which will be our fourth question here. And that really is, how will you get there? How are you, if you determine your direction, like this is where I'm going, to help me get what I want, then this fourth question is a strategy question. How will you get there? And if you don't have an idea of what it is you're trying to do, even motive, why you're trying to do it, who you need to help you, what direction you need to head. Some of us right now, we're headed in the wrong direction. We're not actually headed toward our vision. We're headed maybe even away from our vision, which is not good. The longer you stay on the wrong road, the further you get from where you want to be. And so I want to just challenge you here to ask some of those questions. But then this last question, how will you get there? You got to have a strategy to help you win. All these coaches in these basketball tournament, the men and the women's tournament, they would never go into a game without a strategy. Now, they're going to play to their strengths in those strategies, right? If you have big, players, you're going to play inside more. If you have a bunch of three-point shooters, you're going to take a bunch of three-point shots. You're going to look at those percentages. You're going to have an analytical understanding of what you're good at. You're going to know where it is. And so if you're a real people person, you need to lean into that. If you're a salesperson, lean into that. If you're an organizer, lean into that. If you're a project person, create some projects. Whatever it is that you need to do to play to your strengths. If you're an extrovert, then you need to be with people a lot. If you're an introvert, you need to really make sure that your time when you're by yourself is leading to impact when you're with other people. So I don't know. When I think about strategy, I'm asking myself all the time, like, what's your plan? You have to have a plan to move from here to there if you really want to make progress. So these questions, I don't know. I thought they would help. Again, they're helping me as I'm thinking about Q2, moving into it. If you really want to win at work, what do you want? Who do you need? Where are you going? And how are you going to get there? Those questions really can cut through some of the clutter, some of the noise that's going on. If you'll spend some time in quiet over the next couple of weeks, I think you really can get recalibrated, maybe reset if you think about it. If you're on the wrong road, stop the car, turn it around, put your foot on the gas, and head the other way. You really do have a choice as to where you go this year. And if you don't give some thought to that, you're going to end up in a place that you don't want to be, which would be sad, because ultimately we should be chasing greatness. We should be really doing everything we can to reach our potential and help the people around us reach theirs. We want to help other people win as well. So I hope you'll continue to do that. I hope you'll focus on these questions, make these adjustments. Maybe there's some substitutions that need to take place on your team, or you need some people that aren't on your team right now. Maybe even some recruiting needs to take place here before you start approaching halftime. But anyway, let's do what we can do. There's some things we can do right now. Some of us probably are at a place where we're just, we don't feel real good about how the first quarter went. And if we don't do something different, we're not going to get anything different. It really is important for us to do some thinking here, do some planning, do some strategizing, do some repairing of relationships, maybe do some re-energizing of our team. Whatever it is you need to do, some training, some resourcing, those things that you have control over. Hope you'll make those right choices. Give some focus to that, and you'll be set up for winning in the second quarter here. And then we'll get to halftime, and maybe at the midpoint of the year, you might even go ahead and schedule a longer retreat. Maybe you do a couple hours now and you get to a point where you go a couple of days in the middle of June, just getting ready for the second half of the year. Teams do not go into games without practice, without training, without thinking through what they're trying to do, strategizing, all those things. And yet we approach our lives that way so many times, and we approach our leadership that way. And when we do, not only do we suffer, but the people around us do as well. So hope that helps you this week to win at work as you focus. Let's go into it. Let's kick some tail this week. I think it can be a great week for you and your team if you'll give some focus to that. If you heard something today that was encouraging to you, I hope you'll leave a comment. If you have questions, love to hear those. Keep sharing this content. Thank you so much for sharing. I know you've been sharing because we've been getting so many downloads. It's been great. It's been growing every week. We're so excited about that. Hope we can help more people, and you're part of that. So help us as we continue to try to help other people. We're all going to keep chasing greatness together. If we can do a little reset right here at the end of the first quarter, I think we're going to be positioned to win as we go into the next section of the year. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Love you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. We're going to talk about winning at home.